Alrighty, let's get this stream on the way. Thursday Brewsday. This week I'm going to be running the Soul Sisters because I've had a lot of people ask about playing some modern Soul Sisters. Might be actually be a pretty decent time to run Soul Sisters. I played it in some two-man queues today, was 3-0 with the deck, 2 attrition-based decks, Abzan/Jund, and a Dredge. Dredge is typically a very easy matchup with Soul Sisters, as if you get a first-turn Soul Warden, a lot of times the life gain is just out of control. The way they used to beat Soul Sisters with Golgari Grave Troll becoming a threat that could actually keep tempo with the Ajani's Pridemate. But after the banning, all of the cards that Dredge tries to win with are a joke. So a 3/3 body cannot push back a Ajani's Pridemate or a 6/6 lifelinker, and you just gain too much life. So that's where, with Dredge, and Living End's pretty 50-50, I would say, with the deck. The way this is built, it might not be, but you just need to hold back some cards, gain some initial life, and then even though Dredge has a lot of big creatures, you'd be surprised at how quickly the deck can then establish some chump blockers and then just start going over the top of Living End. So it's not unwinnable. I think if we worried more about Living End, I could put some more Rest in Peace type cards in the sideboard. The sideboard's not really tuned. The whole reason why Path to Exile is in the sideboard at the moment is if you actually look at the metagame, there's not a lot of cards that are decks that you need to be running mainboard paths for. So like Death Shadow, for example, I don't even care too much about taking care of it unless they're running the double strike type card, the Teamer Battle Rage. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty. You don't need a path Tarmogoyf, you don't need a path a lot of things you'll find out of Burn or Zoo, and so it's just not a relevant card in the main. You want to be establishing more and more threats. So for this thought experience, we're going to be running the Sacred Cat, which I do not know if it wants to be in the Soul Sisters deck or not. So far, I've liked it. Probably not as a 4-of, but when you're testing a card, I like to put all 4 of them in, as it has pretty good synergy with Honor the Pure. It works very similar to the card advantage that the Squadron Hawk does for Soul Sisters. So the good news is, though, if they like Thought Sees It Out or whatnot, that actually happened in a game where that was the only card in my hand. The Inquisition found a Ranger of Eos and a Spectral Procession. Was it Spectral? I can't remember. The 2 targets it couldn't hit and had to take a Sacred Cat, and then I just embalmed it back. So it feels pretty good for that. It's a 1/1 lifelinker with him. Basically, you have to 2-for-1 this card. So it's, in my opinion, it's better than like the Doom Traveler. But anyway, let's get this. Any other questions for Soul Sisters? We'll probably be playing some Soul Sisters unless someone wants to take over the channel. As you can see, we've got a GP fund going. The GP Vegas is extremely expensive this year, so I like to have some extra funds to play around with there with the fans. Maybe we'll do some giveaways and stuff like that. I've added some new functions to the stream. Hopefully they all work properly. We're trying to figure out a way for Nightbot to be able to dig up a deck list from the website. But until we have that actually figured out and have the website up and running, synergizing with the stream, yeah, it's not going to be a function. So, anywho, hey, look, Nightbot's already doing its job by filtering through some spam. Good on Nightbot.
Good Nightbot. Alrighty,
so yeah, Boggles is something that I cannot beat. So if you play Boggles, this is not tuned at all to beat Boggles. I haven't seen Boggles in a long time on MTGO. Again, it's going to be mostly Storm, Dredge, Death Shadow, Burn. Those are and then attrition-based decks. Every now and then you run into Escape Shift. You'll run into Tron. The deck isn't unwinnable versus Tron, but it's a tough matchup. We really do need to get off a very good hand right out the gates. So I mean the Soul Sister into a turn 2. Ajani's Pridemate. Again, we're not running the Serra's Ascendant's quite weak in this one compared to the Martyr build because we're running 0 Martyrs just to test out the Sacred Cat, and it's going to be more focused on this Archangel of Thune. So, alrighty. Let's just go ahead and queue this up in a league. And again, if there's any sort of deck that you would like to see me play later on after this league is finished, maybe we'll get on to that. So let's do competitive modern, because who wants to do friendly? Come on, we play to win here. So gonna go ahead and queue it up. Oh, so everyone's seen the spoilers? I did a spoiler video about it if you want to know my full take. So far, I am not as dismal on the Planeswalker on Samut as most people are. I think it's just an okay Planeswalker. I know people have been waiting for another relevant Planeswalker, and we're very disappointed because it probably won't see that much play, but with the right shell, it's definitely a powerful card. Nicol Bolas is just going to be something that's going to be cheated out with Marvel, so not looking forward to that. And the 3-mana Sweeper is actually very, very cool card in my opinion, because I think it does exactly what you want it to do. Even though you have to give up your turn 4 a lot of the times, or possibly your turn 5, by wiping the board that turn is just insane card advantage. And then if you're the control deck, who cares about giving up a turn? And yeah, it's fine even later game, because not all of your lands don't untap, but it doesn't mean that, I mean, you can still have lands that you didn't tap for the card to then use for those particular turns. Maybe I should play League Match. I thought I did, and I'm just here rambling and didn't even click on that. So yeah, fun stuff. Yes, I did see the top 8 of both Grand Prix. Did a Market Monday video on them, actually, of the GPs. There is some... Was Kobe the one that had the U-White, or the black-white Eldrazi deck? We do okay versus that particular deck, because it's still an attrition-based deck. Let me know if you're getting too much sound here from the MTGO2. I do have the desktop audio on. Maybe I do. Doesn't look like it's doing much. This is pretty much going to be we're going to ship this hand back. We can't keep it. Only 2 relevant cards, Sacred Cat, so much better. Now we do want to draw lands, and so here's a good test for the Sacred Cat to see if it's worthwhile, because we do want it to happen with the Honor of the Pure. It is, and we can go 1-drop Sacred Cat, 2-drop Sacred Cat, and then Windbrisk Heights. So I'm okay with this particular. I don't know if I want the second. I guess we'll put it on top, because again, it's going to come and play tapped on turn 3 when we're going to be running Honor of the Pure anyway. So I'm okay with that. So lead off with the cat. I got laughed at last time I used the cat. And let me see what happened to my chat box. So, sorry, I need my chat up here. Okay, MTGO. There we go. All right, now it's focused better for you guys. So let's see what we're up against with my opponent. I thought these would be tough here, because it would take the Archangel of Thune or the Honor of the Pure. Probably the Honor of the Pure at this point, because my opponents probably think I'm pretty far away, which is true with the Archangel of Thune. Alright, so it's going to be a Flooded Strand, which could be literally a number of decks. Basically any deck at the moment could be running it. And there's our Windbrisk Heights, which we did know was on top. And hopefully we find something juicy. That is about as bad as it comes. Giant's Pridemate's not terrible with our draw, what we have in our draw, to flash in with Windbrisk Heights, but typically you want to hit like an Honor of the Pure, Spectral Processions, an Archangel of Thune, Ranger. So go ahead and Sacred Cat as well, and attack in for 1. Alright, so Hallowed Fountain, if this is going to be like the really control list, I hate to face that game 1. We're not really the best suited, our sideboard anyway, for dealing with this deck. Depends on what exactly is the flavor of it as well. If it's like a heavy Celestial Colonnade, Snapcaster Mage, it's one of the toughest matchups. Even though we are a value-based deck, it's incredibly difficult. So we could run into the spell snare here with the honor, but I think it's worthwhile just to throw it out. Nope. Okay, so my opponent actually is on a pretty quick clock just from the Sacred Cats, and I'm gaining a lot of life here. Up to 25, so that's going to be relevant with any Serra Ascendants we draw later on, and this other Windbrisk Heights will come to play tapped, and this one does find us a Ranger, and more lands on the bottom. We are a little bit heavier on lands in this particular deck because of the 23 land count to hit the Archangel of Thunes. But you don't want Archangel of Thunes stuck in your hand without being able to cast them. Now, if we literally top deck into anything, there's only 2 more Windbrisk Heights, so all of our other lands are going to come to play untapped. We can hit an Archangel of Thune on the right time. So... Alright, so no play by our opponent. Could be a Supreme Verdict next turn. There's another Honor the Pure. I think we do run it out, get rid of a Mana Leak. If there's a Mana Leak in here, we still get in for 4. This will take my opponent's turn. I mean, you want to cast things versus the control deck because eventually they're just going to have the Cryptic Command. And so, yeah, I mean, I would of course, like this card to stick. Spell Queller. Spell Queller is something... See, that actually worked out in our favor because now we don't lose a cat. So it is going to be the Spell Queller list. So this is the list that it's finished pretty highly at one of the either Copenhagen or Kobe. So yeah, the list that I remember ran 4 Snapcasters, 4 Spell Quellers is the win cons. So again, they are a damage-based deck, though. They do have to attack through damage. Again, though, the longer this goes on, the worse for us. I'm just going to throw out a Pridemate. We do want to get the 3 online here. I do wish that I might bring in the Path to Exiles for the Spell Queller. Not quite sure if I want to go that route. But this can be a long, grindy matchup, so I'll probably have to play a little bit quicker too with it because I could definitely see this going to Game 3, going to time. Alright, so this is happening. We're not going to worry about attacking in at the moment. So this particular list might not run Supreme Verdicts. I can't remember or not if it does in the main, just because they're trying to run with the Spell Quellers. And yep, not going to attack in. So still, we have any top deck at this point is fine. Lightning Helix on the Pridemate does hurt, but yeah, it's fine. There's a lot worse things that can happen. I actually like spot removal. Again, this deck is built to play the card advantage war, and so they're running like Lightning Helix on 1 card. That's fine. We'll bring in Return of the Ranks, by the way, from our sideboard. Probably Mark of Asylum, too, if we know there's Helixes and Bolts in my opponent's deck. Not quite sure about Rest in Peace. I think the only thing Rest in Peace shuts down in my opponent's list is going to be the Snapcaster Mage, so I'd rather have my Return of the Ranks as options. Alright, so still waiting on my opponent to decide. We're in Cryptic Command range, which is tough. Like I said, I hate this matchup because it's incredibly grindy, and I feel it depends if my opponent is heavier on the control. I always used to like fighting the Geist lists or the Geist Restoration Angel lists because it's something that they have a lot of useless cards, but it was always the Celestial Colonnade list that was tough. And this is where I don't want to run out the Archangel of Thune here into a Cryptic Command, but at this point I might as well. That 2/3 toughness on the Spell Quellers is definitely shutting down my ability to push through. So I think we're just going to play this war. Sphinx of the Revelation will end up getting me later on, so I might as well just get force my opponent to have a counterspell here. But this may be, this is a very similar, the PTQ win that I won, I matched up against UWR Control 3 times with Soul Sisters, and these were matchups that did go to the wire almost every time. And if they're built with trying to rely on like Snapcaster Mages to do a lot of the damage, Spellcaller for example, they are still damage-based decks. They're relying on Lightning Bolt, Lightning Helix, Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Bolt, and gaining so much life with Soul Sisters could be a mess. So it is a logic knot. Can't pay for it, but that is fine. We'll pass it on to our opponent. And hopefully now we can avoid drawing lands. We do have, I believe, 5 on the bottom from those Windbrisk Heights. So, I mean, that's not a lot left in 42 cards. Well, I shouldn't talk. I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out and then pass the turn. And speaking of the devil, there's the Sphinx's Revelation. So it is going to be more of the heavy control-based list. Don't know if it's a one-of. A lot of these have like a one-of Gifts Ungiven in them as well. So apologize for the boring matchup. Again, hate getting queued up against this round 1. The majority of Modern is very quick. And so this is just pretty much a sign that my opponent has something. I don't even know if Torrential Gearhold could be in this one. It's really up in the air of what cards. There is an Ascendant, and so we'll pass the turn. Don't even want to attack in because I don't want to lose anything. And see if this gets countered. There's another Spellcaller, so that's the reason why. Okay. And see if like another instant speed draw spell comes down. I don't know. I'm pretty much sick of blue decks still because I went on a binge of Commander and it's like 90% blue decks. Especially in like singleton formats because they've printed so many cards that are very similar and similar in power level, like Serum Visions, for example, has so many cards very, very similar to it. Whereas a lot of cards like Thoughtseize and Duress, there's only a few of them. And it makes it very weighted, in my opinion, for the blue decks, just because it's easy for them to act less like a singleton deck. Well, that's a good card against our opponent. It's probably going to get Spellcaller number 3 at this point. So I probably will bring in the Paths for Spellcaller. It does seem like a card that's worthwhile to kill. Yep. And we're shut down with those Windbrisk Heights just by 1. And it's a lot of power coming our way per turn now with the Spellquellers. Surprised it took this long for Spellcaller to become a staple in these type of decks. It does take away their outlet of running Supreme Verdict, though. Probably will end up getting rid of the Archangel of Thunes. So Snapcaster Mage Logic Knot for a ton. Nope, just Sphinx's Rev. To try to find more counter spells. But it's a Sphinx's Rev for 4? Or for 3. Yep, so my opponent's back up to 17 with a full hand. And at this point, yeah, here that we expected the opponent's going to start drawing the lightning bolts. And just going to have to take the damage, unfortunately. It's keeping us off the Windbrisk Heights. A card like a Spectral Processions would be huge here. And we'll keep drawing trash cards. At least they're not lands. But this will probably get bolted, helixed. Mana Leak. Yeah, we can pay for that, though. There's probably a double Mana Leak here. And indeed it is. Wonder what the other win con. Oh, geez. Well, that gets Path. So a ton of control, Path to Exile, Lightning, Helix, Lightning Bolt. I actually do like this list, like facing this list more than facing a Supreme Verdict list. So just going to get Electrolyzed to the face rather than taking out the Sacred Cat. And going to swing in just for 4 again, keeping back that. Nope, now the Spellcrawler's coming in. At this point, I don't think I can play backup. We're going to take, yeah, I would take out the Snapcaster Mage. There's a Bolt or Snapcaster Mage, just lose there. Now I'm going to come in and attack with the Sacred Cat. No block. And we just die. Okay. Die to the Spellquellers. Trips on the Spellquellers, though. And then couldn't get anything to resolve. So I think in this one, the Auriok Champions are pretty good. We're going to bring in the Mark of Asylum. I don't actually like the Archangel of Thunes. Path to Exiles are also quite awkward, as the Spellquellers are probably worthwhile to kill, though. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about the Path to Exiles here. If I just let things go underneath the Spellqueller and just call it, yeah, I still think that's the right move. Just not even worry about Spellquellers. And at this point, though, we'd have to take out... We want the Mark of Asylum because the majority of the removal is going to be damage-based. Lightning, Helix, Electrolyze. We saw all of that. So here's one where I could take out a Soul Warden, like double Soul's Attendant, just because they have triggers over the Soul Warden. Don't have to keep track of triggers. And not worry about the Archangel of Thune. I could also, since I'm going really, really low on the land count, take out a Plains here. Or I could just go back up to the Archangel of Thune. So I think I'm going to take out 1 Plains and just go to 22. And then have a kind of 4 of the Soul Warden, 3 of the Soul's Attendant. And we're going to go no Thunes here. So we're going to go ahead and not play the Rest in Peace. Or the Blessed Alliance is, yeah, pretty bad. Sundering Growth, we could be running into the artifact that takes control of a creature, which it's just gonna have to happen if he has one. I don't think it's worthwhile putting it in without that information, knowing that there is one. So keepable hand, very keepable. We can start off with the Soul Warden and then go on to a Sacred Cat. This way, any top deck's fine here now, as more lands the merrier to cast these Rangers. If this deck also starts to get more prevalent, Caverns of Souls is actually pretty good in Soul Sisters, as the majority of your cards are humans. So keep that in mind. So we'll just start off with the Soul Warden, pass the turn. Usually you could go with Serra Ascendant here and then just cross your fingers top deck for a Martyr, but since we're not running Martyr, I think just the Soul Warden is just better on turn 1. This allows 2 Serra Ascendants. Or at this point, I actually might put out a Sacred Cat. Nah, the Ascendant I think is going to be better. All right, so the a Steam Vents comes down. Probably going to get bolted. No, okay. That's going to get bolted. Sure. We'll put out another one. Alright, so again, any land off the top is fine. The worst card right now would be something like Return of the Ranks to draw into. We don't want it until later. In this particular build, Immortal Servitude actually might be better than Return of the Ranks. Didn't even think about that when I was changing it up, because sometimes hitting like the Pridemates and Squadron Hawks is better. So there's Celestial Colonnade in this deck. We hit a Ghost Quarter. We'll Sacred Cat, and then get into there for 2. But now we're into Spellcrawler range, which is super frustrating with this deck, having instant speed. Too bad this isn't a Windbrisk Heights as well. But can't complain, we're in pretty good shape, especially these Rangers hit. Spellcrawler can hit Ranger. And yeah, we are definitely in the Spellcrawler. Realm. There's a Return of the Ranks. That makes things more interesting. If my opponent has Spellcrawler, they have Spellcrawler. I don't think there's much I can do about it at this point. Alrighty. So it hits, and we'll pass the turn. And I'm sure something's going to get snap bolted. Just Lightning Helix on the Serra Ascendant. Okay. So if my opponent taps out for whatever reason next turn, again, I'm not sure if there is any such thing as a tap out card, though. I think that this particular blue deck is just going to be playing everything on my turn. So I could go over the Return of the Ranks, but Flagstones makes it a lot easier. We'll attack in. And see what happens. We'll run a Ranger out. It's going to get Spellcrawled, but whatever. Opponent is down to a 10. And then if that shocks, it'll be down to an 8. No, okay. So, yeah, there's the Spellcrawler. Because in 15 cards, the white control deck, the blue-white control deck will always have 4. So remember that when you're playing a Spellcrawler deck, they always will have 4 in their hand. Ignore the other 44 cards that are in their deck. There's my salt coming out. Okay. Another Sacred Cat. So ridiculous if this... Yeah, it most likely would be countered on a Spellcrawler. But yeah, I think I just have to pass here. We could try Return of the Ranks. It just gets... Are these even relevant at this point? So we can convoke it for 3. It doesn't matter. Mana Leak will still get the card. I think we just pass. After I just showed. Okay, so at least I'm going to get more value out of it. If I can get it to stick. And still think I just throw Rangers out. If they get Spellcore, they get Spellcore. Yeah, pretty ridiculous. Both games having in the first opening, I would say 12 cards, something like that. At least double Spellquellers. No lands my opponent has drawn so far. Yep, you start to swing it in with one Spellqueller at a time. Spectral Processions. We will go for a Spectral Processions. Because it's better than getting something else countered. And it could actually go for Return of the Ranks here as well. Because we do have the 3 mana. Yeah, I'm done. Alright, stream's over. Kevin's raging today already. And, oh, yeah. Never mind, I'll be okay with that because I forgot. Can't counter this. This is a 6 mana spell. So my opponent just big time messed up here. And now we get a free... That was a huge play. So we'll go ahead and tap all of these, as my opponent did. And that's I've had people try to... That's happened before. Can't remember what card it used to be that they tried to always... Alright, so that was a pretty good play. Other than I still can't do anything against these pesky Spellquellers. Yeah, still though, triple Spellquellers in both games. Just in hand. No digging for them, nothing. Frustrating. So, maybe should have kept the Path to Exiles in. So 25, unfortunately, I need something to hit. I doubt this Ranger will hit. We're going to see the quads on the Spellqueller, and then I'm going to call the judge for deck check. But I need this to hit, because if it hits, I can attack with my Ascendants. I don't think you run Westvale Abbey in Soul Sisters. It's tough. I've never actually tried it, to be honest. It's the problem is, like, you need your white mana, and even Ghost Quarters feels bad sometimes. There's a Cryptic. Cryptic, and he's going to tap. Okay. So no draw off that. Got rid of a Cryptic. But I'm still... No Archangel of Thune's in this particular list, so... And smartly attacking in with the Spellquellers to just dip at my life total. Rather than allowing me to get above that. We'll attack with everything here. The Colonnade still can't be activated. But, I mean, a Snapcaster Mage, got to get those cards out of hand and then hope to top deck the other Return to the Ranks. But, I mean, this is an extremely difficult card for me to deal with. There's a Snapcaster Mage, so it's going to bull off. Probably a Serra Ascendant. And there it is. And I'm going to Path to Exile. I'm going to go ahead and thin out my deck. And this block here, and then block on a flyer. Yeah, down to a 9. So possibly that wasn't a correct attack. I just can't see sitting back. I mean, we triple block with spirits. He bolts off one of the blockers. And now just going to attack him with the 2. We do have time, though. But the later this game goes, the worse off we are, especially without having any of the high impact cards. 2 of the Rangers countered, or 3 of the Rangers countered. And my opponent has not been drawing lands, so there's still a lot of value. So ridiculous. Oh, these games are... Man. It's what I get without the pass, though. I think the pass would have been able to stick on the Spellquillers. Alright, we don't have to worry about Spellquillers anymore, though. Really don't even know what I can draw into at this point. Oh, there we go. Perfect. But we don't even have anything in the graveyard because it got pathed and... Yeah, just the other one was pathed. So we have 2 Serra Ascendants. And the Soul Warden's under this one as well. Assuming he blocks a flyer. Snapcaster Mage number 2 as well for a path? Was that? Yes, for a path to exile. To path off a cat. Also feels bad though to have more lands out than the control deck. See if the Snapcaster Mage will actually block the cat. Does not. So I don't see a point to keeping up this Return of the Ranks for later on. There's just nothing I can chain into. There's no Archangel of Thune. Possibly I should have kept the Archangel of Thune in just because if it does hit, it makes it very difficult for the Spellcaller to hit through. But at this point, yeah, I don't see us coming back. I just might need to Return the Ranks for 4 here to get back 2 Serra Ascendants. But I think I'd rather wait. Yeah, it seems like a bad idea. Two snaps and 4 Spellquillers. Out of 23. Yeah, I absolutely should have. This is my bad. I should have kept in the Path to Exiles because this would be a completely different game. If I could top deck a Path to Exile, kill the Ranger. Or kill one of these with the Ranger and then go and grab more things. But it is what it is. And insult to injury here. We will draw another land. We are literally halfway through our lands here. I mean, we're at the halfway mark, though. And 2 of those have been pathed. So... Alrighty. Yep, this one's tough, though. Both of these, this is the only card in the deck that is that threatening early for the deck as a Spellcaller. And my opponent had 3 and 4 on both games. So... Whoops, left open a mana. 3 cards too. That's probably a Cryptic Command left in hand. Or double Mana Leak. No honors too. Honor of the Pure would have made this a lot more aggressive. Logic Knot for 6. And there's no way I can pay it. Alright, we'll go on to the next match here. So hopefully that's a toughish match. I don't know, we could build it differently. Couldn't sneak a Ranger out early. That would have been the Ranger's super good in that particular matchup too, because the Spellcores can't block it. And yeah, so Logic Knot. So not off to a good start. Was 3-0, of course, before I started doing the stream. And now we're going to get... This is capable. I'm not happy with this hand, but it's definitely keepable. This might be one of the instances. No, it's still Soul Warden. Alrighty. Start off with the Soul Warden. And the Magic God's going to be good to us here. His name's Red Baron, so he's playing red. He's playing burn, right? So he's going to give us a free win. Sacred Cat's actually super good in the burn matchup. It's 2 cards they have to kill. And this also gets around the Eidolon when the Embalm comes back, so just some food for thought. So there's a bull. Could be another burn deck. Or another UWR control deck is what I'm saying. But I mean, it could be burn. And here I think that we will just pull out the planes so we can play both. But didn't want to hit a land, of course, on my first draw. That's something that we're flooding out pretty bad. I mean, all 3 matches so far have been incredibly high lands for the 23 land count. That's the problem with running the Angel, is you have to run a higher land count, and I typically don't like that. So it does look like we're playing burn. Feels bad, man. Sorry, Red Baron. I'm that guy that's gonna queue up with Soul Sisters. And that is a death sentence right now. As this is going to gain too much life. So one of the Tarn in here is quite interesting. Most burn players don't run Tarn unless they're running 4, 8, 12, 16 fetch lands, all of them being the red fetch lands. But that puts the land account very, very low. Just a 1 of Sacred Foundry, a 1 of Stomping Grounds. Well then, so we are going to do a little bit of a thought, or we're going to see here. We're going to Ghost Core to the Sacred Foundry. A lot of times they don't have a white source to go grab with this. And so Ghost Core is actually pretty decent in this match. So you can go get a mountain, and that's fine. Yep. So that just took off all of the Boros Charms. And we are going to attack with the Sacred Cat, because this will use a burn spell to my face, most likely, is how it's going to work. Maybe a Searing Blaze will just effectively work here. Alright, there's another Sacred Foundry. We'll have a Ghost Quarter for it next turn. And so there's a Searing Blaze. So it does die. The only way we lose this match, though, is if I do continue to draw this land nonsense. So we'll go ahead and embalm this back. And I'll Ghost Quarter the Sacred Foundry. I don't know how many they run Sacred Foundries, because if it is, the Scalding Tarn is interesting because we're seeing both the Bloodstained Mire and the Scalding Tarn, and because there's not a lot of room for, like, too many lands. There's an Arid Mace that can go get another one, but... Alright, that's actually a really good draw. I'm going to go ahead and kill this Sacred Foundry as well. Skull Crack prevents the life gain from the life link. Puts it up to 2/3. So if he has a bolt for the last card in hand, it can kill the Whisper can kill the Sacred Cat. Alright, nope. So we're off to the races to see who can top deck better. I have filtered out my opponent's library quite good, but I think that it might be out of Sacred Foundries if we went and got a basic mountain. Again, yeah, it's so awkward because if there's 16 fetch lands, you want to keep your land count around 21-ish. That only leaves 5 slots, so there's 2 Sacred Foundries and 3 mountains. Possibly my opponent could be out of lands at this point. I don't know. I don't know how the deck is built, but I mean, if it's Naya, that's what I'm still thinking it's Naya, so it's gonna be the Wooded Foothills and the Arid Mesas of 4 ofs, and then we're seeing Bloodstained Mire and Scalding Tarn, so those could just be 2 ofs each, putting the land count at just like 12 fetch lands. But this person's, oh jeez, yep. Ross, you're 2-timing us. Oh, man. All right, Ascendant's a good draw here. Attendant, I mean, as we can attack in with the Sacred Cat. The Swift Spears are not very threatening now because it's only one. He has to like top deck into a Lightning Bolt, and yeah, Ross Red Baron just ratted you out too. Said you told him my hand as well. There's the fist. Alright, so he must have topped into a land there at this point. Okay, so Return the Ranks is really good here, so is Auriok Champion. We don't need to bring in Path to Exiles. It's a mistake, but we will bring in Blessed Alliance. Here's where I think the Archangel of Thune is just too late. And even at this point, a Ranger of Eos is not necessary. I think that if we're going to we could cut a land and maybe bring back in one of... We could probably actually cut 2 lands and bring back in 2 Rangers and just be at 21 lands because we don't want to get flooded out. But, here, I'll show you the chat. There's your, ratted you out there. I'm trying to think of anything else my opponent could be bringing in. Yeah, you don't worry about... Absolutely do not worry about the Eidolons. The only way the opponent wins this matchup is they get a lot of Searing Blazes in a row. And I can't keep this. This is a mulligan with the Ghost Quarter. My opponent does mulligan too, and against Burn, I definitely would take a mulligan if they mulligan as well, because Burn typically needs is the most cards possible. Put the Ranger in the bottom. We don't want this Ranger. And there's a Rift Bolt. So the Rift Bolt is probably going to have to kill this Serra Ascendant. If my opponent doesn't kill the Serra Ascendant, there's probably the Searing Blaze in hand. Otherwise, the Rift Bolt would target the Serra Ascendant. So we'll go ahead and throw it out. Yep, we expected that. Burn Tradition just wants to go to the face, though. I mean, any deck like this is tough for Burn. I could keep a Blessed Alliance just in case there's some sort of card that we need to take care of. Let's go ahead with the Honor of the Pure. Now, if my opponent also has an Eidolon, this is kind of a weird hand for Eidolon because Ranger gets around it and it puts out a threat, 4/3 threat. So yeah, it is Naya. Okay, so this is a Naya Burn. So a lot of fetch lands, though. I'm wondering the count of Scalding Tarns and Bloodstained. If maybe the land count's a little bit higher. And speaking of the devil, there's the Eidolon. And Relic does very little. The Return of the Ranks are something that I could draw. And so, yeah. But I'm not Martyr Proc. Martyr Proc uses the graveyard to inevitably win. And this is not one of those decks. So we can go Windbrisk Heights here. And again, I just need to avoid this. I need to avoid drawing land, so I draw a land. And here we'll Windbrisk Heights into play. It means we can use the Ghost Quarter to kill a Stomping Grounds or a Sacred Foundry, but anyway. And at this point, the Spectral Processions is the best thing to put. Mark of Asylum, of course, is really cool, as it stops his burn strategy. But anywho. How many games do you estimate you have with Soul Sisters in general? I have not a clue. I have played... I'm rusty with the deck, that's for sure. I haven't played it for quite a while. I've kind of avoided Modern. It looks like Modern's back to a meta that is reasonable. I don't know, Dredge is still pretty silly. Just lost a game. I won 2-1 because, like I said, Soul Sisters is pretty good versus Dredge. But on game number 3, he had 8 cards. Or turn number 4, he was down to 6 cards left in his deck. All right, this is how you lose. So draw land. That's it. But this gets around the Eidolon. It gives me a bigger blocker, and it'll also cost damage for my opponent to kill it. So. Also gets us 2... I think at this point we're just going to get 2 Sacred Cats. Oh, he's got a Relic. I don't even know why I did that. So, Relic, I guess, for the Sacred Cats. Soul Sisters would have been fine here too. But just Lifelinkers in general, okay. And this will force him to use the Relic Poppet. Yeah, so there's a Lava Spike. It's doing more damage to him than it's doing to me with effective life at 13 and 18. And well, we draw another land. So we've drawn all lands, right? Except for a Blessed Alliance, because the Sacred Foundries, or the Sacred Cats were something that were... So we'll go ahead and attack in. Not even quite sure I care about casting these cats. Okay, so if the Eidolon blocks, though, that puts us in a pretty good position. If Tarka does not help the... it just trades with the Ranger at that point. So, feel very far ahead here. We'll go Sacred Cat. Sacred Cat. And yeah, I should have played Ghost Core there. I don't know why. Just in rhythm of... and then we'll gain 4 life. And he's going to concede it to me. Tough one. Red Baron MTG. Fun times. That on Twitch then, I assume. I should go back to a Twitch streaming. I was looking at it again. Have some of the stream options that Twitch has. Like I said, we have the whole chat donation chat thingy. Think I got that set up. We'll see. Anyway, but YouTube's more my since I'm a YouTuber, I don't feel like I should be doing much on Twitch. Well, my base is over here. Maybe I'll get a bigger base if I actually did go to Twitch though. But anywho, alrighty, let's queue it up again. Any other questions while we're waiting? Kevin, you should do this, but EDH 1 versus 1. I can't stand 1 versus 1 commander right now. It's horrid. It's all Barl, and Barl's no fun to get turn 3 polymorphed. All right, this is a keepable hand. It is kind of heavy with the Ranger and the Archangel, but it's definitely something that is viable with the Ascendants and Auriok Champions. And we just got queued up with what the? We absolutely just got re-queued up. With Red Baron. Should have happened unless he re-queued. Wizards, because that just like quickly queued up, and this is just a terrible matchup for him. Ross, that's the whole point of this. We're trying out the Sacred Cat to see if it is worthwhile. I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty good Squadron Hawk. So you got to think of Modern a lot differently than Standard. A card that is not very playable in Standard, like Sacred Cat, is perfect for Modern, as they have to 2-for-1 it. It's 2 lightning bolts that takes care of the cat. As it's just, we have to, it's more of a card advantage. Attrition is huge right now. There's a lot of Death Shadows decks. There's a lot of Jund, Abzan, those type of decks. What do we have coming up? A Ranger. That's going to draw all of our higher drops. So this Auriok Champion is, I won't fault him if he just scoops after the Auriok Champion. It's miserable for my opponent to beat. And this card, if everyone knows kind of my history of Soul Sisters, this was the key card to my success. Faced UWR 3 times in the tournament, and Auriok Champion was a pain. At that point, they were more Geist, like Restoration Angel, Geist of St. Traff type UWR, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Helix, Electrolyze type decks, just trying to get maximum value out of Snapcaster Mage. And Auriok Champion every game was huge because it was nearly impossible for the UWR to like bolt this down. There's just so much life gain, and they were relying on Geist to really push through. And I don't know, it was one of the most fun tournaments. Got me hooked on Modern for sure. So anywho, and yep, didn't fault him for scooping that. It's really, really tough to beat an Auriok Champion. Speaking of Auriok Champions, we'll bring in some more. And business as usual with this particular deck. We'll go ahead and no point to any of these. Go ahead and take out the Archangels and dip down the land count to 21 lands is probably good. In all honesty, I can keep dipping down. Take out the Rangers. Just go to 2 Rangers. Go down to 1 and 20. This is definitely a possibility like this as well. Whoops. No, can't do that because it's at 59 right now. Yeah, I have to bring something in. Duh. Yeah, wow. Go to 60 to 58, Kevin. Learn the math. All right, so, yep, this is fine. 21 lands is fine. All right. So, opponent just scoops it up. This would have been an extremely rough hand for my opponent to beat. First turn Ascendant into a second turn Mark of Asylum. Or Sacred Cat at that point, and then Ajani's Pridemate can come out after that, and then Ajani's Pridemate cannot be taken care of with the lifelink, so. Alrighty. Shouldn't do it again. So we got the WR match was tough. 2 free wins off of red, off of burn. So now I would like to see like an Abzan or a Jund / Grixis - Shadow type match. Sultai mid-range in Modern. What are the recommendations in terms of creatures? I would go Tasigur. Tasigur is really good at... What are you going, Snapcaster Mage for Sultai? So assuming like now you can go Sultai as a Fatal Push. So sort of the Grixis-based builds, but you get green. So Goyf, definitely I'd go Goyf, an Ooze, and... Yeah, just Tasigur. I think right there is your kind of... yeah, it depends if you want to go like the Dark Confidant route with Sultai. But, you know, Snapcaster Mage and stuff. I don't know. I've never really played a Sultai mid-range. Very good hand here. You always want to see 3 lands with Soul Sister. That's a sweet spot, because 2 lands is risky, 3 lands is perfect, but now we don't want to draw lands. There's one nightmare for Soul Sisters, and that's when you see a first turn polluted Delta. That is, black-blue is one of our toughest color combinations. Watery Grave here, probably going to get Thoughtseize, and the Honor of the Pure is going to be the target for my opponent. The good news is, though, Auriok Champion is semi-decent in this matchup if they're running like Fatal Push as a removal spell. Yeah. The spot before the cats is actually built quite differently. Usually I run either Squadron Hawk in that space. I've also run, lately, the human dude, the Thales Lieutenant. As Thales Lieutenant pumps up Soul Attendants and things like that, so Rangers. I don't know. I need to mess around with Soul Sisters again. I'm surprised he took an Attendant there over an Honor of the Pure. Probably shows a pretty heavy removal hand for creatures. Yeah. And then that way the Honor of the Pure is not going to do much. And the Archangel of Thune just isn't threatening, because I'm sure the counter spells come at that point, so... Wow, blue is back. Who are those people that keep saying that blue is not viable in Modern? There's someone that raged on my Commander video about me complaining about 1v1 Commander being all blue, and basically told me just to screw off and go play any other format because blue is not viable. There's control in it dominated Legacy for quite some time. It's decent in Modern now, and it's perfectly acceptable in Standard. So, geez. See if this gets spell snared. Yeah, so I'm assuming that's why the Soul's Attendant was taken care of. And like I said, we kept a 3-lander in hope that we wouldn't draw another land and draw land. So not too happy with some of our draws in this particular stream. Wall of Ice Cream, I'll have to show you my anti-blue deck. I have Boil, Choke, Carpet of Flowers. There's actually Tsunami. There's like 4 cards that do the same thing Boil does. And now we're ripped. We're completely ripped out with good night. Well, that's a decent draw. But I'll show you that deck. I'll have to update it because it doesn't. It used to have Strip Mine in it, the Strip Mine lock. But it's Mina and Den. And so, all right, so Archangel of Thune is beautiful here. I think we'll just throw out another Plains, go ahead and attack in, see if a Bolt comes down. Just going to Snapcaster Mage it, huh? So Snapcaster Mage is getting no value, though. So I'll make that trade at that point. Oh yeah, never mind, Fatal Push was there. Haha, no value. All right. Well, I'll see if the Snapcaster Mages can actually win this. 4 cards in my opponent's hand. This is probably Grixis Shadow, I'd assume. Oh, awesome. So Archangel of Thune most likely will hit. No, because he could drop a land and a mana leak. Doesn't matter, though. We have time. Yeah, this is Death Shadow. And there is the Death Shadow. And a Tassiger. Okay. So Auriok Champion is actually quite funny here. Is it just better than the Thune? 1 card in hand. They run Murderous Cut as a 1 of, I believe. I wouldn't have to block because that's 14, 15, 16. I think the safe play is just to go Archangel of Thune and pass, because I can block the Snapcaster Mage. The whole problem, though, is my opponent could Lightning Bolt his own Snapcaster Mage in response. So I probably will just end up blocking the Tassiger if there's a swing with everything. Any of the ramp-based strategies right now are viable in 1 versus 1 just because ramp is pretty... Yep. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So here I block... I'm pretty sure I block the Tasker because my effective life tool is up to 19. And I don't want a Snapcaster Mage blocked in response. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This will get through. I'm pretty sure that's the right play. Okay. Yep. So Bolt to the Snapcaster Mage block would have made it so 16, 17, 18, we wouldn't have gained any life. And we win. This is where Path to Exile is actually pretty good. So is Blessed Alliance. We're gonna bring both in. Blessed Alliance can also be used to kill my opponent's Death Shadow if they happen to cast it to a point where it's only 4/4. That doesn't happen very often, but you can make your opponent gain life. Mark of Asylum is interesting here. Fatal Push. I think Lightning Bolt is a 4 of in this deck. I'm not quite sure if Electrolyze is in the deck. Maybe I'll have to pull up a... Let's go ahead and do this real quick. Let's cheat. And we'll look at Grixis. Deck here, the Grixis Death Shadow. So just a 2 of Lightning Bolt. Kolaghan's Command, not worth it for 4 cards, I would assume. Thoughtseize, Thought Scour, Inquisition, Fatal Push, Angler, Tasker, Street Wraith, Snapcaster's Death Shadow. Yeah, so in the sideboard we have Anger. Is it Staticaster? So possibly Mark of Asylum does want to come in. I'm gonna bring it in. Okay, so we will bring in the Mark of Asylum. Thune. Is Thune something I care about? Auriok Champion needs to come in too. I actually do think that Return of the Ranks needs to come in as well. Rest in Peace is iffy. It shuts down Snapcaster Mage and Tasker to a point, but I don't think it needs to come in versus this match. There's not anything that's running like Delirium, like Tarmogoyf type stuff, or just Delirium in general. So... let's see here. To be honest, I don't think the Archangel of Thune, just as a 1 of, cut the land down, again, is probably the right play. The pass, I do like to pass up, possibly cut Rangers down. Ajani's Primates are good, Soul Wardens. We can get rid of a few Soul Wardens. The Sacred Cats might actually not be the best in this particular matchup, other than it's double blockers. But we'd actually want the Aurioks. Maybe it's just Honor the Pures. I'm gonna get rid of some of the weight here, the Rangers. It's gonna be tough for us to like have a huge board state, but versus Death Shadow, I think they have to go all in, and possibly, I don't know, possibly that's the wrong decision. I'm gonna keep this 1 lander, and yes, that's perfect. Okay, so this can be a great hand. So the Inquisition's probably gonna take the Path, is what I assume he'll take. Alright, so this does mean my opponent has probably like an Angler type draw. And we'll go ahead and just put out a Soul Attendant. Probably should put the other one out that doesn't require a trigger. And we are at top deck mode. And wow, we draw planes. Perfect. So there's Death Shadow. So there you go. There's a perfect example if Blessed Alliance here can just play and kill it. But can't attack in, so kind of at the mercy of... my opponent's got some Dead Thought Seizes that can now be top decked into. There's a Tasker in the graveyard, so that was good. And Fatal Push and a Kolgan's Command for a Snapcaster Mage to use. At this point, though, I don't think my opponent can attack in. We're at a very high life total. The deck is pretty good at just how this Death Shadow tries to work is really win the attrition war. And so this is miserable for my opponent to try to deal with. The thing is, I could block a Death Shadow with this. No. Because even okay, so I'm going to try to play the late game route versus Soul Sisters. I'm going to keep this in hand just in case there's a Thought-Knots here. But that, once again, when you keep a one-lander, scry one to the top and draw all lands. So there's a Kolgan's Command, perfect. And decided to do damage to me and... No, brought back the Tassiger. That actually is pretty gross. So Tassiger's just a lot of... so you can leave back the blocker with the Death Shadow and keep back a Tassiger. So that's going to be tough unless we draw a Path to Exile. And he smartly got rid of the cards. Another Death Shadow. Jeez. Yep, this one's going to be a loss. Well, this is just horrid with the lands. Happens all too often on Empty Joe. Skevin, I probably did receive it. A lot of times I don't have time to look at all the deck lists that get sent my way on the email. Let's see, Street Wraith. I give up. This how many times in a row this Alright. We're gonna calm down. All lands. That was all of our draws. Pure lands. Okay, so maybe I do need to go bigger with like Rangers. Yeah, Rangers fights the attrition war. I don't know if that's the right idea of taking it out. I still do like Return the Ranks. I think it's quite powerful. The other route I could go is just cut the Honor of the Pures if we're playing against... Honor of the Pures get a lot better with the Squadron Hawk. Yeah, just one Archangel of Thune is probably right. I don't want too many because it's just something that is hard to cast early on. And maybe even just one... Return of the Ranks is super good versus the... I'm going to take out another Soul Sister just because the amount of Auriok Champions is quite high. And we're not running that many of our Archangel Thunes. I think Spectral Processions is really good in this particular one. We are cutting the Honor of the Pures, though. Jeez. Maybe something like Ajani's Pridemate is not the greatest. Alright, we're going to try a low land count here. Go ahead and keep this. This is a great hand. Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and most likely get Inquisition / Thought Seized on the Honor of the Pure. Nope, Serum Vision's awesome. So this is going to be, that's a rough play for him, not to have that first turn thought because of the Honor of the Pure. The problem is after this, though, the Spectral Procession can be ripped out. Plus, I don't know if we're going to be able to cast it with cutting all the lands down to 20 lands. There's a Path to Exile, that's perfect. As it gives us a play versus our opponent. And we do draw the land, so... Ay. Mana leaks. I didn't think I saw too much of that type of thing, so we'll go ahead and Spectral Procession. Alright, I don't think my opponent can come back from this. Double Death Shadow in the bin. Opponent has to use a Kolaghan's Command to get it back. Plus we have the Path to Exile. An Angler is not going to do anything. In fact, at that point we just Path to Exile the Angler. And, yeah. So at this point, my opponent won't even be able to activate a Shock Land or a Terminate on a Spirit. Sure. Surprised that it was on. Oh yeah, Spirit's probably a better play. And maybe I should be playing around a Damnation. Doubt it though. Do we look at the list? I didn't even look close enough to see if that was an option. And that is game. All right, Death Shadow. That's a pretty 50-50. I don't know. I think it's in Soul Sisters' favor. We have a lot of chump blockers. And traditionally how Death Shadow, Grixis especially, does, they just rip out every removal spell and then just get in there for a few turns with their huge 7/7, 8/8, 9/9 type card. All right, let's play the last one. See how we can do. Kind of weird league, as at least we've breaking even on money-wise. And maybe we'll open some treasures later. I don't think I have too many treasures at the moment, and just open up a bunch of them. See what we get. Oh, look at that, lands. I'm going to keep it though. It's got a Ranger and 2 Windbrisk Heights. So this hand could technically do well later on. Don't know why I didn't play Soul Warden there. Windbrisk Heights, and at this point the best card is the Honor of the Pure. So throw that underneath. And Scalding Tarn. See if we are playing it a burn deck, because we like that. Nope. Gonna be another Grixis Death Shadow deck. Was this the same opponent we did? No. I don't know. And we draw land. Surprise, surprise. All right, so Soul Warden coming out. Windbrisk Heights coming out. And at this point, the Archangel of Thune, of course, is the best card you can put underneath the Windbrisk Heights. And we will pass the turn to our Death Shadow opponent. Well, actually, I have no clue what we're up against. Soul Sisters is not too expensive in paper. It depends on how you build it. I've got Archangel of Thunes and Auriok Champions. They are definitely not necessary for full Soul Sister builds. If you cut those, Ranger was just reprinted, so those are extremely cheap. And the one card that is expensive is the Serra Ascendant. Anyone know what a Serra Ascendant is going for? Man, I should put some commands somehow. Is there a way to add it? Just, I wonder if Nightbot has some sort of commands for prices of cards. I've seen it on other people's streams. And that Thoughtseize just brutal. Hits my Ranger. And we're pretty much just top decking at this point. So, our champion is huge though. Great top deck. It's going to be tough for Death Shadow to deal with it. One of these days, too, we'll look into some more Nightbot functions. we'll have deck lists up. What I'm working on right now is somehow to export, like on the fly, export the deck list, which will upload it immediately to the website, which will then can be retrieved from the Nightbot. So I'm having my web developer look into that, and I think that'll be pretty cool for the streams. 18.23 for paper, huh? Yeah, Ascendant is getting quite expensive. I highly doubt Ascendant will be reprinted too, just because how it's worded with the commander. I wouldn't be against kind of errating the wording on Serra's Ascendant. I think they could easily do that instead of saying if your life total is 30, if they just put 10 or 10 higher than there. All right, cool. So we get sort of a worthless Inquisition. You knew I don't know why my opponent just cast that unless they just want some more cards in the graveyard, because he knew my hand. The new information was Auriok Champion. Grand Abolisher is modern legal. Yep, it's definitely is a card I could bring in versus that Spellcaller match, by the way. I believe Grand Abolisher is. Yeah, that's one of the core sets. Yeah, Buzzglass is usually what I like to do with the control matches is cards like Return of the Ranks. So you just have to play the Attrition War and hopefully they run out of counter spells and then hit a big drop. But yeah, it's something that could happen. All right, so this is kind of a bad draw or bad card for my opponent because it can't do anything against the Auriok Champion. So we're both into top deck mode, and wow, we get two. Was this my opponent that I just played? I can't. Yeah, I should keep track. And geez, we're back to this nonsense. Pretty ridiculous. Well, Micah, like I was saying, Ascendant is tough to reprint just because it violates how they want cards to read. So how they want the card to read is 10 more than your starting life total, because then they don't have to ban it out of Commander. Or at least 1 versus 1 Commander, which actually I think Serra Ascendant should be fine in 1 versus 1 Commander because it shouldn't be 30 life total. 30 life total is a mistake. Leviathan is a stupid format compared to duels. I'm completely on their side now. I was a little bit hesitant at first because the mono red aggro decks were pretty prevalent in 20 life total, but people can adjust and run cards like Jit and just a lot of different life gain type cards, Pulse of Marasa, those type of things, and then it's pretty good against those decks. But anywho, I think that dual commander should be 25 life because my reasoning is with dual commander, you have an extra card called your commander, and for burn decks, for aggro decks, that is probably the equivalent to about 5 life. But if you have 30 life and an extra card, it makes control and ramp way too good and just unstoppable. And we're starting to see that in 1 versus 1. I would even assume that they could ban a lot more cards out of 1 versus 1 that are most of the broken cards though are out of blue. And I wouldn't necessarily say a lot of the ramp cards are broken. Sylvan Library probably needs to go. That's one out of green that is just violating the 30 life because you can activate the Sylvan Library twice and still be at 22 life. And so it's effectively just draw 2. But, anywho. I think that if you go to 25 life, though, what I was saying is Serra Ascendant would be legal in that particular format because gaining 5 life is still something you have to do. But it's got a long ways to go. I hope we see another ban list shortly here because Borrow decks it's actually Vial Smasher decks are getting out of control. Partner's probably a mistake in 1 versus 1. I think Partner's just too good. As now you have 9 cards rather than 7 cards. But Vial Smasher just violates the multiplayer. It's okay in multiplayer because it's a random opponent, but in oh, jeez. Well, Death Shadow is coming back. Off the Kolaghan's command. I can take a hit for quite a while, though. It's going to be Tassiger. So I have 3 threats that I have to deal with. Sacred Cat gives me a blocker for a few turns. So now we need Thune, Ranger of Eos, those type of cards. But this isn't looking good. So here comes the Death Shadow. We're both kind of flooded for low land count type decks. This is getting old. This is getting really old. All right, so my opponent gets back. Oh, or returns nothing. Okay, I guess two cards. It's okay. In 2 more turns, after I hit my next 2 top deck lands off the top, I can hardcast Ulamog, which, you know, in Soul Sisters we mainboard. So again, we can take a hit for quite a while. We're still back to our starting life total. Skevin, the 3-mana Wrath I am a huge fan of. Most people are very skeptical of it. I really like it. I think it happens at the right time. All right, now we're in business. We're going to go Soul Attendant. Not going to play this last land because I want my opponent to thought seize me. And that way next turn we can attack in and hit both the Windbrisk Heights and the Honor of the Pure. And at that point it's game. Because my creatures will be bigger than my opponent's. So here comes another Tasigur. And hopefully we find something like an Inquisition to give him back. Perfect. Buzzglasses, email me your address and I'll sign you up lanes. I mean, this happens all the time. There's rumors about accounts getting locked into either land flood or land starve, but I don't believe them. If you ask Zach, though, how many times I'm bitching about one or the other, it happens so often of just runs, just insane runs of lands or no lands. And I know it's truly random, but sometimes you just got to think, how bad is one's luck for this to happen consistently on almost every stream we do, where I get flooded out on decks that have no business flooding out. What was I doing the other day playing a 19 land deck and was flooding out? Alright, so this is a big play if I get to attack. So Colgan's command is pretty... Alright, Buzzglasses, just give me your Patriot. What's your name? I don't know what your name is with. I probably your address if yeah, if I've sent anything out. If you're... Yeah. Still Soul Warden here. No, Windbrisk Heights are awesome, Raphael. They're so good in this deck. Windbrisk Heights are yes, I'm not running Squadron Hawks, but it's off of Spectral Procession or a Ranger. You're back in the game and then hit a Windbrisk Heights. I am a huge fan of them. I think they're a key piece to the Soul Sisters archetype. All right, we're crossing our fingers for no bolt. Blast. Okay, it's just Tasigur. Tasigur, you can have back the Street Wraith. So that's going to force a cycle of the Street Wraith right now, too. That's what I'm assuming. Because my opponent needs to cycle and find a removal spell. Or just have a Terminate. Yes, okay. Well, that stops me for a turn. My opponent's got another turn. Jeez, hate to lose this to just Tasigur finding the value. But if I get a swing, I'm fine. Alright, another Serra Ascendant. So we actually are getting cards. Yeah, I don't know if I like Sacred Cat over Squadron Hawk. Most likely the Squadron Hawk will get the nod, because Squadron Hawk in this case would fill back up my hand, give a ton of threats, cast them all, and my opponent is definitely staring down a Windbrisk Heights activation. But opponent is getting pretty lucky. Drew both of those, the Terminate and the Fatal Push. And it's keeping me off the Windbrisk, but a Spectral Procession or a Ranger or an Archangel of Thune wins the game. But pretty bad odds to give back my opponent some relevant cards here with Tasigur. Serum Visions is going to have to be the card. But don't like it. Down to a 12. No Serum Vision, so my opponent has another removal spell in hand? Alright, so that's fine. We have Ranger. I'll play the Plains now, because this allows another activation. So Ranger's going to get me two cards. We'll wait to cast them if I don't get an attack. Yes, Kevin, that's pretty cool. As foretold. Yep, you don't have to worry about any lands. Tapping or not being able to untap. So at this point, we probably want two sacred. We'll probably want yeah, I would say two Sacred Cats. This is that scenario where Sacred Cat's actually very, very good, because no, we have the. I'm gonna get because we have Soul Wardens, and that just makes our creatures huge. So yeah, never mind. We don't want Sacred Cat here. Now it's tempting just to throw out the two. Yeah, we don't need Honor the Pure. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw both of them out. And then we'll attack in. So this is one of the longest games I think Death Shadow's probably ever gone. So there's Snapcaster Mage for Terminate. So that's why our opponent did not. Our Fatal Push, I think my opponent should actually use a Terminate here with the mana rather than Fatal Push. Gonna kill this Soul Attendant. Kill the Serra Ascendant. Highly disagree with that play. This is by far the better card. Okay, there's another one in hand then. Well then. They were Snapcaster Mages, which were the other cards in hand. And that's why the Fatal Push was used. Now let's see what shenanigans. So we know there's a Preordain and a Serum Visions and a Street Wraith. And some unknown cards. So there's a Serum Visions. So that's good that he's using it right now, too. With the Tasker, I can just then give back. And there's the Street Wraith. Wonder at what point my opponent just starts hard casting Street Wraiths. Catcher's Monument is pretty meh, I would assume. Just because it comes out on turn 3, it's not something you want to be doing, and Soul Sisters is waiting till turn 3. I mean, at that point, I think like a Glorious Anthem or Always Watching might just be better. Yeah, I understand the chaining off of the Squadron Hawks. And it puts out another 1/1 white token at that point. I don't know. We could test it, but it's also legendary, so it's definitely the definition of a weird card in here. You can get hit by some random artifact hate. This is also an insanely good card to top deck into as Ajani's Pridemate, because it's already going to be a 4/4, meaning that the Tassiger is something I can block without the Pure coming down. And oh, wow, we actually pulled this off. So did have a string of lands, but we actually didn't draw a land for quite some time after that. So that was good news. Path of Bravery is actually quite awkward in this deck. I'd rather have just, I don't know. Yeah, Path of Bravery is 3 mana. That's the little problem. Should be a scoop after this. I think that if anything was to get countered, it'd be Ajani's Pridemate. There's a Desperation Cycle with the Street Wraith. So I'm going to lose the Soul Warden. And why is it not letting me respond to this with the Windbrisk Heights? There we go. I was just wondering what was up with And this is an easy give my opponent back a Street Wraith. So possibly didn't need to attack with the Auriok Champion there. Maybe that was a mistake. Could have kept it back. But I have an 11-11 into 7-8. Terminate is in the bin. 2 Snapcaster Mages, 1 in the Exile. 6 cards still in my opponent's hand. Can my opponent dish off enough damage? Highly doubt it. Thoughtscour doesn't find anything too interesting here. A Snapcaster Mage would have been nice to have. And speaking of Snapcaster Mage, there's the other one. And wow, that happened. All right, so business as usual with our sideboard. We're going to bring in the paths and all that juicy stuff. I do think Mark of Asylum might be on the pure art. I don't know, probably random. Oh, this was an FNM promo. This is a FNM pro. No, media promo. These came in. I have these in paper. I'm not sure where they came from though. It's a foil in paper, and I think it's got those little like mana symbols, like the things you get on Walmart packs. Maybe that's where it came from. So, in all honesty, Ajani's Pridemate needs to be. This is a weird. Definitely a weird sideboard. I know we just barely got done sideboarding against this deck. And 8 cards out. I took the Archangel of Thunes out, cut the land base down to 21. And just Ranger's too good. It plays the Attrition War very, very well. Blessed Alliance is super good versus this particular deck. Auriok Champion, nice. Yeah, it's like the Soul Attendant. I'm going to cut down quite a few of them, actually. And then, at that point, maybe some Cats? Or just Serra Ascendants. I don't know. I don't know the best way to cut. That got way down with it was the Biobox, huh? Yeah, it was before my time. So during one of my breaks. Kind of a weird hand. We're very disruptible at this point. We have 4 lands in our hand. But the Spectral Procession is really, really good here. And we're going to lose the Pridemate. It's the only thing it can't hit. Which is actually the weakest card in our hand. And we'll just draw another one. How about that? Do you know what, Skevin? I'd probably rather have Dreadbore than Terminate at this point. Even though it's sorcery speed, it's another way to deal with Planeswalkers, another way to deal with Gideon. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true, Magic Man. I don't think they'd reprint Can't Regenerate. Maybe they'll do a Terminate type card, loses Indestructible. And Serum Visions. Yeah, the new things are how they're worded is they lose Indestructible. Rather than it says can't be regenerate, a lot of the new cards are worded loses Indestructible. Our opponent's thinking about this one hard. Where's the Death Shadow? Find the Death Shadow. Name of the game. Hey, there's a cat. Pretty decent in this match. Pretty sure this will get pushed. And there's the Death Shadow ×2. Neato. Oh, that was an amazing draw. Can't complain there. And we will just sit back and wait for our opponent to try to find a Tassiger. I don't know how. The Auriok Champion is just too hard for my opponent to beat. It's no Teamer Battle Rage in this particular deck. I do believe there could be a one of. We have Ranger coming out next turn. Yeah, this is unbeatable for my opponent. So you can see Death Shadow's a pretty easy matchup. Duplicate galore for this league. 2 Death Shadow, 2 Burn. And 1 triple Spellcaller / quad Spellcaller. I still feel like we can win that match. Okay, that's a good card. Kill my cat? What a jerk. Can't attack in, though. So I might actually have to attack into Liliana. Well, that's another great top deck. I think I'll actually do that over... Yeah, that's a beautiful top deck. And my opponent will have to lose the Death Shadow here. Liliana. What is that card doing in here? Pass the turn. Liliana gets ticked down. Can put the top 2 cards in library and then get back a Death Shadow. Hero's Downfall easily could be reprinted in Hour of Devastation. Supposedly this set is all about the Gatewatch losing. I don't know. I haven't read up on the story. I haven't read up on the Amakit story. All I know is if I have to read one more article or lore by the Allison, the Allison, everyone's favorite writer, the writing is so horrid. It is like worse than high school writing. It is so bad. And people keep praising it, so of course they just keep publishing more of those of her writing. Nothing against her personally. I just think that if you go read the Golgari, the latest one with the whatever the insect guys trying to take over the guild from the Golgari, and it was terrible, terrible writing. Anywho, that's enough on that. Before I get myself in trouble with the Magic community. Hey, she probably could. She wasn't hired as a creative writing person, and that's in Wizards in a nutshell. Is they keep hiring people, they keep shifting people around in positions that have no business doing so. So we get a kill Liliana here. which is good. Can't complain about that. Oh, no, I can't. Whoops. Whoops, 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 whoops. Should have played the Honor of the Pure here. I actually could kill Liana with both Auriok Champions. And my opponent will have to lose a Death Shadow. I actually think that's the right play. So the Snapcaster Mage will kill... yeah, sure. This is fine. Packrack Fever, she gets a lot of credit for tackling social justice issues in Magic. So like... and again, nothing wrong with these type of articles and stuff, except when it feels so pushed in the Magic the Gathering genre. So, like the Alicia at Smiles at Death, with Yahini being the they pronoun. Gotta say they pronoun in a fantasy setting. All that kind of stuff just drives me insane. Like the push political messages. And I'm a centrist. I'm right in the middle of the road. So I'm not a right-leaning person nor a left-leaning person. I'm as definition as you can get as a kind of a centrist. And it just bugs me seeing a video game, or in this case, a card game, just having to try to push some sort of political agenda. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But whatever. That's why I've been banished from the YouTube community for daring to even speak out against it. So, whatever. Oh, it's Tasty Snackies. Talk about deplorables. Talk about people, how'd you get mod, Tasty? Jeez. No, Yahini's a they. Don't you dare say that, Mr. Magic Man. It's a they. Well then. You're going to anger away my stuff. So we were right about the anger coming in. My opponent has to play... my opponent should scoop here because they have to kill their Death Shadow. Oh, that just wins. But I mean, even without this Path to Exile, we were way far ahead. Well, there you go, R5 then. That's exactly it. That's been my entire beef with Wizards. And the whole thing is I grew up pretty much opposing the right. I grew up in central Utah, so, you know, told my entire life I had to be a certain way, act a certain way, and pretty much opposed it, politically speaking and whatnot. But it's funny that the older I get, the more I start leaning more and more right, and it almost sickens me because I don't want to. I want to be liberal. I literally do. Anyway. I know, that's the whole thing. Dimensional Wayfarer, that's the exact same thing that I thought they could have easily done better. Instead of bringing sexuality into it, it's just saying that, okay, the Aetherborn are almost like a robot does not have... You don't give the Spellskite a gender. You don't give... probably you don't give many things a gender on any of the Phyrexians. They are just not things, but at the same time you go out of your way to like... Ugh, again, the gender pronouns, the whole debate is so weird. I'm going to stop before I get myself banned. Alright, so we got a qualifier point and 8 treasures and 180 play points. And let's go ahead open some of these bad boys. Might as well do an opening for treasure chests, see if we can get anything. This is so bad to do, by the way. I highly do not suggest opening treasure chests. I think they're worth about 2.4 to sell to the vendors. So to make this back, we need 2.4 times 21. So we need the 40, just a little bit over 44 tickets to make it worthwhile. And here we go. Let's open all the treasures. Liliana or bust. So 280 play points. That's not terrible. Hey! Is this worth anything? That's cool. I don't know if the guy's cradle is actually worth anything. But so basically it's yeah, 44 tickets is what we just gave up. And evacuation, not worth anything, right? Great, but let's bring up I'm gonna bring up a tab here to see if we made it back on the money. It's pretty anticlimactic. This is something that I think they should change for MTGOs to make opening treasures. It's kind of like what they do on Dota, or I even believe on Hearthstone they actually have like an animation and stuff. I mean, some people don't like it, but at the same time it makes it more interesting for those people that do. There's a reason why slot machines are flashy. There's a whole reason why Vegas in general is flashy, is because that's part of the appeal, the kind of aesthetics, kind of the experience. Look how boring that was to open up 21 treasures. Woo. Fun. We got a bunch of junk, though. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the MTG Goldfish. Whatever, taste I'm a bigger independent than you. You fake person. Gaia's Cradle. So Gaia's Cradle would be our money card that we got out of that. Last time I did this, it's got me in the gambling mood because I pulled a Liliana, so. And it's the... Oh, wow. Okay. It's either 17... This isn't foil, is it? Weird. It's 27... I think this is the one we're looking at. So 2780 for the Gaia's Cradle. Let's just pull that there. Oh, man. That's so hard on the screen. So right there made us halfway back. Do we have a Noble Hierarch there? Holy, we do have a Noble Hierarch. Noble Hierarch is actually worth a lot on MTGO, I believe. So Noble Hierarch for Modern Masters is another 26. Birds, I believe, are like 2. I just sold some birds. What is this nonsense? Great Bow Doyen. Other archers. I never knew archers had a creature type like this. I missed this entire block. Cool. Whenever archer you control deals damage to a creature, that archer deals that much damage to that creature's controller. How come I've never brewed with this card? Probably because it's 5 mana for a 2/4, and probably not enough archers to make it worthwhile. Alrighty. Is there a Hercules? Yeah, Hercules is worth a lot too. So we're up to 27. We're up to over 50. We've already made our money back. Plus the 280 play points is pretty good. Wow, sometimes you hit it big. Let's go with the Chandra. Let's see what Chandra's worth. Chandra Fire of Kaladesh. Not worth crap. All right, 63 cents. Evacuation could be worth something with the new 1 versus 1. Nope, not worth anything. Let's see. Trove, not worth anything. Hercules Recall, yep. 8. 8 for the Hercules Recall. Let's go with, there's Teysa. That's a sign. That's a sign. Got to play some Teysa now. Got to lose some tickets now with, wonder if the Evangel's worth anything. It is in paper, I know that. Nope. Online, it's not worth a thing. This is all garbage down to here, right? All this is just commons. So Inquisition. Inquisition probably isn't worth anything because it was just reprinted in Modern Masters. That's actually out of Rise of Eldrazi. Rise of Eldrazi one is 2.5. And so yeah, we made our money definitely out of the Gaia's Cradle and the Noble Hierarch / Hercules Recall. So yeah, not bad at all. Okay, sometimes it's worthwhile to gamble. But you can see, though, if one of those treasures we didn't open up had... If we even missed one of these cards, we would have breaking even, maybe breaking even. But it took both of them to really put us over the top. So... Not seeing anything else here. That's pretty terrible. Don't you love these old school cards? Now even a 6/6 flying first strike would be considered vanilla as vanilla. It'd be a terrible rare, bulk rare. And this one actually has a... You have to sacrifice an artifact. Oh, lovely old cards. Teysa! Alright. Anything anyone particularly wants to play? I've got another 24-ish minutes. We can play Tasty, but Tasty will cheat, right? You'll watch my stream while we play. Where's Ross to give you all the tips of what I have? That was pretty funny. Do we have a Utopia Sprawl in that? Yeah, Utopia Sprawl is worth money too. I guess I should have checked the commons because they print a lot of those commons are actually worth money. Oh yeah, Utopia Sprawl is $250. R5N, yes, I've seen the movie SLC Punk many times. Many times. Yep, SLC Punk, that's old. That's an old movie. Yeah, the whole thing is it's not very accurate, R5N. I don't know. Well, actually, it's older than even me. It's SLC Punk. I was a kid when that came out. And Salt Lake has changed a ton since that movie came out. I mean, Salt Lake's actually cleaned up a lot. And it's had a big cultural shift. Salt Lake's actually one of the most liberal cities, believe it or not, in the United States. So, I mean, it overwhelmingly voted for Hillary Clinton in the election, whereas the rest of the state of Utah, of course, always overwhelmingly votes for Republican. So that's just we have one of the most liberal, we had one of those liberal mayors named Rocky Anderson, very, very active too in those type of communities. For Salt Lake. I lived in Salt Lake for almost a decade, so I know the city quite well. But now, good old rural Utah, where I live, where I can be 10 minutes in any direction away from humans. So, sorry, I already closed the commons that we just opened up, but there probably was some that were worth. The Utopia Sprawl is worth some money. Something I guess I should check for. But I guess you can scroll back onto the stream and see if there's anything good. So let's just show Tesa. Since we opened up a Tesa, what is Tesa even worth these days? Nothing. Okay. Let's go over to Commander. And this is my current version of Tesa for 1v1. And it works out pretty well. Added a Grave Pact, and believe it or not, I added Anointed Procession because they actually have some pretty good synergy with the Academy Rector. Plus, I wanted something else Enlightened Tutor could go grab, or the Idyllic Tutor. Usually you do grab Darkest Hour, but sometimes you'd rather grab something else like a Grave Pact or Anointed Procession. And this deck is actually really good versus creature-based decks, but it's terrible versus ramp. It's also decent. The way I've got it built is pretty decent versus control, but I have no chance in hell versus ramp. Just get completely destroyed, as I can't finish out the game before they do something degenerate. But anywho, Grand Zoo would be fun. Shining Soul in Soul Sisters. I've never really found a point for Shining Soul. Like, it can get you out of some sticky situations. Shoal. Never even played with one on MT Joe. You may exile a white card in your hand. The next X damage the source would do it to another player. It's a lot of you want something with a high converted mana cost, I'm assuming, with Shining Soul, and Soul Sisters is all low converted mana cost. So I don't like it, especially with your low land count too. You're never going to hard cast this for much. Not a card I think you'd play with. Yeah, I know. Bontu should have been a frog. Where is our all hail Keck? R5N, are you from Utah? By chance? I actually trash on Utah quite a bit. But I love it here in Utah. The culture's actually, it can be annoying with the very religious culture, but they make for good people. It's quite peaceful in my town. There's a good law and order here. I don't know. I've lived out of state too. I really thought that living out of state would be a lot. I don't know. If you're in Utah, you don't even have an idea of what real poverty is. Like, even the worst neighborhoods in Salt Lake City are better than some of the best neighborhoods in Pittsburgh. So other major city I've lived in. I know Pittsburgh's not a good comparable city to anything. It's quite impoverished in the Rust Belt, but I don't know. I like Utah. Northeast Ohio. R5N, I know your area quite well. I was in Meadville, Pennsylvania, which is northwest Pennsylvania. So that is the Rust Belt. And so do you live in Cleveland area then? up in that. In fact, where I lived in Meadville was a battleground. You were either a Steelers fan, it's either Steelers or Browns, and it was pretty 50-50. Like all the houses would be flying one or the other. How long until Californians ruin Utah? In fact, I would actually say a lot of the opposite is happening now. We're actually seeing a lot of people from Utah moving out of state. Utah is growing leaps and bounds, but yeah, I understand what you're saying there. Marquesa is a deck that I've built in EDH. I've never built it in 1 versus 1. I have a hard time seeing it actually. It's probably viable, but it's. Which one's the Black Rose? That's the old one, right? Because yeah, Marquesa. Because there's Queen Marquesa. That's right. So I do want to build a Queen Marquesa in 1 versus 1 EDH. I'm wondering if Zergo Helm Smasher is better, or if Queen Marquesa is for what I want to do. I want to build a control deck. So having cards like Kolaghan's Command, having Duretti, Skull Clamp, of course. But yeah, this one actually seems pretty bad because you become the Monarch, your opponent gets Monarch, you get Assassins. So you basically effectively draw a card. Queen Marquesa basically, yeah, Death Touch Haste, draw a card. That'd be fun. This Marquesa, though, is... of course, I love it in EDH because you have time to actually... like multiplayer commander, you have time to actually build it up. It's been one of the most degenerate commanders I've ever built. But I sold the deck, and I haven't rebuilt it. Or at least sold a lot of the pieces out of Commander. Currently, I'm still playing King Makar in Commander. I still play Animar quite often. Wanted to build a Hakon 1 versus 1. So anyway, Hakon, of course, would not be the commander, but everything is revolved around Hakon, so you're trying to like bury it alive into it. Still, this is one of my favorite cards ever printed, is Hakon Stormguard Scourge. It's the amount of brewing you have to do around this card, and this is one of my favorite combos, is Ash of the Fallen and Hakon. So you name knights, and then you can basically cast everything from your graveyard. So I love this combination. I keep trying to get it to work in Modern. Collected Company. Do I not have a collected company? I sold all my collected companies? That's a shame. No, I've got a collected company. What's it doing? Is it abandoned? They didn't ban it. Weird. Wonder why that's coming up as not viable. I was Pack Crack Fever. Rogue Refiner is kind of one of those cards that I don't like go out of my way to find them. It's something I set aside when I pick up people's draft trash and things like that. So yeah, it's like as a store owner, we have what I consider like a lot of people leave stuff around. Plus, we acquire a lot of stuff from buying collections, and I separate things in like when we get to the commons and uncommons in basically 3 piles. So I do true bulk, and then cards of value. And Rogue Refiners is one of them that I've been putting in the cards of value category. And the different categories is bulk. Bulk is not worth anything, but it's something that someone down the road will buy. It has value, has some sort of actual value. True bulk is something that will always is outclassed at the moment, or has a huge potential of becoming outclassed by another card, and just doesn't see any play, popper, casual, anything. And so Rogue Refiners, I would say, would usually end up in the bulk stack, but I've been definitely separating those aside because I do think Rogue Refiner is one of those cards, as long as energy is viable, and I don't see energy going anywhere. It's going to be I think a dollar card. Look at Fatal Push. It doesn't seem like Aether Revolt was actually opened that often. I'm about ready to start cracking pack after pack. I know it's an FNM promo for Fatal Push, but anyway. So what would win versus Leviathan? In Leviathan, Queen Marquesa versus Marquesa the Black Rose. Marquesa the Black Rose would win in probably both of them just because blue is overpowered. I don't know how you'd build them both. But Blue just needs some major nerfs to it. What part of Andrew? What part of Idaho are you in? Because are you in Greater Utah? Because that's what we call like if you go up I-15, what is that? Idaho Falls and like Blackfoot, Idaho, Idaho Falls, Twin Falls. Is Twin Falls there? No, Twin Falls is over by Boise, I believe, or something. I don't know. I need my Idaho geography. Because your state is very is kind of crazy. You've got like the Mormon corridor, which is more like Utah, and then you have Boise, which is more like Seattle. I guess it has its own little unique culture, but Boise, yep. I've actually never been to Boise. I was going to drive there for a PTQ once, but never made it out there. Been to Idaho Falls a ton of times, though. I have friends that lived up there. I know it's quite a long drive, just how the, whatever you call that, I want to say panhandle, but that's definitely the wrong. Am I brewing a standard Bullis deck? No, why? Just throw it in Marvel. That's the whole thing. Yeah, mini Portland. I guess that's a better accuracy than Seattle. Don't want to insult anyone by calling their city a representation of Seattle. That's where Wizard of the Coast is, by the way. Surprise, surprise. All right. Oh, I guess I was going to show everyone my anti-blue deck. Where did I accidentally delete it? Uh-oh. No. MTGO's been deleting my decks. See these duplicates? It was doing this to all of the decks and just duplicating. And yeah. Oh, you guys are looking at this Grenzo. If I were to build a Grenzo commander deck, I'd probably build the other one. But anyway, it looks like my Mina got deleted. Yeah, I lost so many modern decks too. It just purged them all and then did all sorts of duplicates. One deck I had 16 copies of a deck. So MTGO's just buggy as hell. They need a huge overhaul of the whole software. Just start over. Anywho, anything else anyone wants to play? Wants to brew? If you haven't checked this list out, go check out Gathering Magic for the Deploy the Gatewatch. It's kind of a fun. Well, my puppies want to come in?
Yeah, they're looking.
Come on up. Come on up. You being sad? They can't see you down there. Scratching at the door. I had a Cheerios deck in Legacy. Looks like all my Legacy decks have been purged. Fun. Same with Pauper. Wow, lost all my Pauper decks. Thanks, MTGO. Lovely. Huh. I don't know. I guess back to Soul Sisters is a little point of the deck. Sacred Cat was kind of cool. Don't know if it's better than Squadron Hawk. What's the verdict on the cat? I know you hate cats. Where's the kitty, Chloe? Where's the kitty? Find the kitty. It's gonna be weird. Find the kitty. Where's it at? She goes and patrols my backyard for cats. We had cats like tearing up our just cats, stray cats everywhere in the backyard, and so I taught Chloe how to go and kind of guard the perimeter when we come home. And now she's crazy. She chased the cat like two blocks. So she actually found one day and just chased it for 2 blocks. I was running after the Chloe and Scout like a madman. I thought they were going to kill the poor thing. But anyway, she's a good dog. You've gotten big, huh? What are you doing? Say hello. No? Where's the dot? Where's the dot? She goes crazy for a laser pointer. Yeah? Camera shot? Get back down. There you go. Have fun. Oh. So, 10 minutes left. I don't know. Where'd Tasty go? He log off? Bring a standard Bullis deck. We can try here of what I would do. I would still... You have to build with Marvel. It's just the best way to go about it with standard. I don't know if Grixis isn't the most... It still would want to be in the Marvel type shell. It's the only Marvel deck I have at the moment. Let's see if... But yeah, it killed my marbles too. Man, stupid MTGO. Still need to build this deck. Just the regular Liliana's the cycling. I want to do a deck with just pure cyclers and then using a Liliana just to get them back. So like the bigger worms. I still do need to build a worm deck for a challenge for Patreon. If you at the $15 tier on my Patreon, you can give me a challenge each month, and I actually have to do 2 of them now. And the challenge this week is to build a sandworm deck. So I have to use copies of both the 8 mana sandworm convergence as well as the 5 mana cycling sandworm. So that's gonna be fun to try to build. But Abu Games, Abu Games and I had a run-in at the very earliest point of my YouTube career. And so I had beef with them for quite a while, but since then everything's calmed down. Auragraft. One of the world's Auragraft. Like grafting Auragraft. Gain control of target Aura that's attached to a permanent attachment. That's a sweet card. That is a pretty cool card. What is Arcana Wings? Does it make you like to a creature you don't control? Exchange with another card, Aura card in hand. Wow, that is a fun little card too. So the whole thing is we need better auras, because the only one I can think of is the Eldrazi one. That's like the best high-costing aura. Mythical Proportions, 8/8 Trample, sure. But Eldrazi's Conscriptions, +10/+10 and Trample and Annihilator. And just cheating out things I think is a lot easier than trying to do that specific. And something, yeah, these wouldn't work. Like Take Possessions type card. That's good. That's kind of a cool one. Should give it some sort of boost, though. Yeah, I've been wanting to break this Boonweaver Giant as well for quite some time. Just there hasn't been any auras that are you can justify with this. It's pretty cool. Again, Eldrazi Conscription, but that's about it. No Marvel. If Marvel gets banned, though, I think the best way to build would be Nicol Bolas. Would either be in like a Torrential Gearhulk Shell. Going into the 3rd color at that point, I don't think would be too hard with cards like the Cycling Lands, because you have the right colors of Cycling Lands. Plus, you do have it comes into play tap Manland. That's the best for that particular strategy. But it definitely, I guess I don't even have this one. It deleted. It went ahead and deleted my go-to deck that I play with. Wow. Thanks, Empty Joe. But the deck that I like to play in Standard at the moment is just Temur Energy. And this is the way I like to build it. So 4 Servant of the Conduits, and then 4 Chandler Initiates. And this gives you nice ramp into Chandra. And then Chandra could then go into Nicol Bolas. Of course, this is the wrong Nicol Bolas. It's a 7 mana. But it'd be something like this curve is great. And then you have Oath of Nissa to make it worthwhile. It is kind of nice with the Deploy the Gatewatch that I just played too, because Nicol Bolas is another course planeswalker you want to try to find. And so maybe like an Oath of Deploy the Gatewatch type deck could work. I mean, let's actually just look at that right now. Nicol Bolas could be just jammed into this deck. This is my go-to deck, or the list that I played for Gathering Magic. Just ran a lot of 1-ofs, and Chandra being the only 4 of the deck. Again, I played it over at Gathering Magic. You can go watch the match. So I have time. We can play one. But see if there's a queue ready to go. Oh, there was. And Deploy is really good. Like 7 mana is easily castable in the deck with Servants and Chandras. And it'll actually can wrap it out quite quickly. Cure is actually something that you can ramp because you can untap land and a creature. Cure is awkward in the deck though because it doesn't. Yeah, Academy Researcher's fun to get. Typically, people get what? Debtor's Knell. That's usually an EDH what I see people grab with it, the Academy Rector. I have it in my 1v1 because it can go get. It's another way to go get Darkest Hour, as well as it can go get some pretty decent enchantments. All right, so this deck is quite dirtly. This is a great hand though. This is an exceptional hand because we have a turn. We have a turn 4 to deploy the Gatewatch. No, yes we do. Yes we do. So if we have everything stick out, this could actually work out for us. So quite awkward here if I get white or red. I think I get red because red's the one that we're going to use earlier on. Oh, Academy Researchers, not Academy Rector is what you're saying. Academy Researchers goes and gets one from the graveyard, right? Puts it directly on a... So you have to mill them. All right, so we drew the plains anyway, so that was good. We'll go ahead and just throw out the mountain. And I do like playing against a green deck that just Unbridled Growth. What did my opponent do first turn? I wasn't even... Oh, sacked it to draw a card. Okay. Okay. I was thinking of the other one there. So we'll have a Chandra out next turn. And then we'll live the dream to play the Gatewatch. The only problem with running Chandra, and I actually didn't mess with the deck. This isn't the quite deck list that I used. I was just showing that we probably wanted 4 Chandras in the deck. Yeah, this is probably a win for us. Oh, I put in this as renewal too. Uh-oh. Maybe I should have checked this to actually see what I end up doing. We'll go with the hub is fine. Yeah, hub is fine here. Oh, there's one of our huge payoffs. Soren just got exiled. Yeah. But here you can see this could have been a turn 4 Nicol Bolas with the play the Gatewatch. Really think to play the Gatewatch should go through 8, not 7. It just makes you play so many. There's Arlen. Arlen is actually very weak in this deck. I probably should cut it. It doesn't do what I want it to do. We'll go ahead and exile or add mana. And we'll deploy. And at this point, I don't think we want to kill our own Chandra because it's pretty far ahead. I mean, well, we could. We've used it, and it could end up killing Nissa. But Kiora and Nissa of our own. Yeah, Chandra on 6, though, is tough to get rid of. So we'll go ahead and... I can't get 3 mana here with... Yes, we can. We can get Arlen Court out here. So we'll go ahead and tap for a red. And then untap, untap. And then we're going to untap a land. I can just kill Nissa here. I'm being super, super greedy just to go crazy with it. That's probably the right play is to... Yeah, not worry about Arlen. What I should have done is just untapped land, attacked in. Whatever. So, is it... No, I couldn't kill it here. He just blocked, so that's fine. And we'll cast Arlen. And then we'll go ahead and create a wolf. This deck is super fun. Oh, wow. Alright, probably going to kill off his own plant here. Nope. Does want to ramp for something. And I got the plant tokens out. 2 mana as well. For an Unbridled Growth that is in sacked. I wonder what they're using for Revolt. And his War of the Planeswalkers here. Initiate's terrible at this point. We could kill off the Initiate. Cure is pretty bad for... I think we're going to untap a land. Cast Nissa's Renewal. And go get the rest of the lands that we need. We could cast Chandler Initiate. I don't think it's worthwhile though. We'll just untap here. And attack an Anissa. And I should have given them trample. That was stupid of me. But I can still use the -3 here to kill Nissa if my opponent does not block. Because this isn't give the trample? Yeah. So I could have just paused plus there instead. And done the same thing. But now I've got to actually use it to kill. So I forgot about a Planeswalker activation. And I forgot another Planeswalker activation with Chandra. Too many walkers out. So we're playing against a 4-color deck as well, a 5-color deck. Trying to figure out what my opponent's doing though with their 5 colors. Oath of Nissa. Wow. Maybe we're both playing the same deck. Yeah, they're playing some sort of walker deck too. Imagine that. Can't beat that ult, though. Let's kill Gideon. Why not? Let's drag this on when we don't need to. Let's just go ahead and scry. Put it on top. We'll use it later. Go ahead and initiate here. Can I actually cast it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we're out of energy. I could cast it if I had energy. Initiate. Okay, I was toying with him too. So Glorybringer is actually good in this one. I don't even know why I used a Glorybringer. We don't need Fumigates or Radiant Flames. But if my opponent is going to be running Planeswalkers, Glorybringer's good. Nahiri is probably just as a one-of is still fine. Arlen Court is a one-of. The Torch of Defiance is still okay in this particular. I don't even know if I need Glorybringers in this. Chandra. Do I need Chandra? We're just going to go to one of Chandra. And we're actually just going to go to one of Glorybringer. I'm just going to keep this as much of a walker game as possible. And don't need a Bristling Hydra or Tamios. Yeah, just a bunch of one-ofs. Let's just play fun. Planeswalkers versus Planeswalkers, because I know my opponent has 3 Planeswalkers, Nissa, Chandra, and Gideon. And we have every Planeswalker. That's hilarious if 2 random people just queued up with a deploy the Gatewatch type style deck. Alright, so we have another good hand with Attune the Aether. And I'm starting to think this is some sort of Delirium deck if they're running. Or if the growth is just in there to fix. This is a difficult choice. I think I go to White Source. Just because Dovin is going to seem like the better card. Oh, no, Red Source. Oh, White Source, Red Source, White Source. Okay, we're going to get a Plains. So no turn 4 Chandra this time. We'll do like turn 4 Nahiri. Seems pretty good. Again, I wish they deploy the Gatewatch set from graveyard. Put the top 7 cards of your library into your graveyard, and you can cast two Planeswalkers from your graveyard. Because then you have some synergy with both Nahiri and Kiora. Well, we drew a Plains, or one of. We'll go ahead and throw out the Plains, because we don't need a double Plains here. Because that will allow us to cast, if we get a red source, to go for it instead next turn. No, I think Blooming Marsh here gets the nod. And I don't know if Dovin or Nahiri is the better play. But this deck is just all about ramping out Planeswalkers. An Oath of Gideon. Yep, definitely another Planeswalker deck. And we can kill the Oath of Gideon right now with Nahiri, but I think Dovin's just better. Alrighty. Oath of Nissa, Oath of Gideon. The only oaths I use in this one are, I use Oath of Chandra, Oath of Nissa, and one of Oath of Liliana. Oath of Liliana actually seems very powerful in the Planeswalker-based deck. Puts out a lot of 2/2s. And the 2/2s actually protect your Planeswalkers. And there's Initiate. Probably going to put it on its own. It needs, opponent probably needs mana, so. And Dovin's going to get hit. And speaking of Oath of Liliana, there is the Oath of Liliana. Probably don't want it, though, at this point. We go Nissa. And do I care about Nissa or just go Nahiri here? We go Servant and Oath of Liliana. Maybe that's just better. Still think I want to pump up Dovin. Yeah, we'll do Oath of Liliana. Should have done that before. Now my opponent's just going to sack that one. But we're protecting Dovin here. My opponent can get out a 6-mana Planeswalker or Sorin at this point. Yeah, I don't care too much for the Oath of Ajani. But See what monstrosity comes down. Chandra! Kill the servant attacking with 3 to Dovin? Possibly? So, it's pretty hilarious though that there was 2 Planeswalker decks. His is oath heavy though. Oh, there's an ob. Unless my opponent was watching the stream and then just queued up with their own. Oh, funny. Alright, just ticked up Chandra. Another servant. We're going to get rid of something here. We're going to go ahead and go Nissa. We're attacking to Chandra, and we'll attack the Chandra with both of them. We have a 2/2 zombie back as well. That's a weird block. Oh, no, my opponent can tap it. Yeah, that's actually pretty good with the initiate too. Tap and then become a 2/3. So I guess I should have used the Dovin. Earlier on. But we'll just do this. And have a 2/2 out with the Oath of Liliana. And see what Chandra, see if my opponent Chandra can take over this game before. Nissa. At this point, I think I cast the Nissa. That'll take the turn away. Possibly the initiate taps for mana and casts something else. I can ult Nissa at this point, and it's a lot of card advantage. Most likely put a plant token out. Alright, so we do have to swing all into Chandra. And a block can happen at this point. And then I can also cast... Oh wow, I can't cast anything worthwhile without the mana. I think we still need to untap lands. So we'll go Servant. And instead of like Nahiri or a Chandra, we can't do Chandra of our own. All this needs to attack into Chandra. And I don't think there will be a block. The 2/3 will block the Servant. And just take the 2, but I can't let it ult at this point. And I missed the Dovin again. Jeez, I'm terrible with the Dovin. This is what happens when you start to play when you're tired. So I'm just gonna draw a card. Let Dovin die to the. I need mana, so it will go on the Channeler Initiate. The Channeler needs to tap for a red next turn. And there is an ult on the Chandra, which probably means there's another one in hand. And I don't know if I can beat an ult at this point. Well, that was my bad. 2 in a row with Dovin. I should have 2 Servant of Conduits here. See where the damage goes from the... Is it a big... oh, wow. That is backbreaking. Yeah, secondary. I actually lost this one. And this is definitely my fault of losing it, because there's no way I should have lost this one. That is interesting. Already used the plant as well this turn. And decided not to kill Dovin. But I can't cast anything in my hand, so I'm pretty sure this is someone on stream, again, watching my hand. Oh, wow. Liliana can't really do anything at this point. I'll attack into Chandra. Get 2 zombies from this. But I need an oath of my own. And how do I beat this Chandra ult? Because now this other Nis is gonna ult as well. There's Soren. Oh, yeah. So Nis is dead here, and then Soren kills Liliana because it comes out with an additional counter on it. Wow. Yeah, I messed up this game big time, just not activating my Dovin Bond activations. 2 servants would have definitely ramped me into a Chandra of my own. Because Soren can -6 to kill Liliana. And yeah, -2 on Chandra. Nissa puts out a token. And now I need the +1. Jace actually works, but not really. Whoops. Too much mana there. This is the only way I come back in is to get a Planeswalker of my own. But Nis is drawing 7 cards, right? Yeah, I'm done. All right, so I'll go on to the sideboard here. I don't need to bring in... Glorybringers are actually insanely good in this match. Liliana actually doesn't seem that great. I'm going to get rid of Liliana. And Tamiyo's actually pretty decent. Cure is not. I don't need to ramp in anything. And then all the Chandras are fine. This other Chandra Flamecaller is probably okay. Alright, I'll focus this time. Very keepable hand. Double Initiate. I'll ramp very, very fast. with a initiate and deploy the Gate Watch might be better than Nahiri seems pretty good. I probably go initiate and Glorybringer. Just because Glorybringer is going to take care of any Planeswalker. Another good one in the mirror type match. So do need to draw a land though. In this case, maybe Nahiri actually is better and just dump a deploy. So we're really mirroring out here. And unfortunately, we missed our land drop, so just another initiate. And pass. And Chandra comes down here, knowing my hand. You have 100% information in my hand, Mr. Sums. You'll know the play will be to kill one of these initiates with your Chandra. Nope, just Unbridled Growth. That's good news. So now if I draw into the Glorybringer mana, yes, perfect. All right. There is a initiate down, and we know that there was no mana last turn, so there shouldn't be any play this turn as well. And Glorybringer will... See, do you know what the Exert really feels like? Is the new 3-mana board wipe feels like what Glorybringer is. Because you get to use it every other turn. This is an interesting play. I think that the card we want to use here... Do I want an energy? I don't want to utilize an energy because I need those for the deploy. So what I'm going to do is both of these is going to go Dovin. And then we're going to draw a card. Tried another land or another Aether Hub. Ugh. Oh well, getting us closer to where we need. This could put out, an Oath of Ajani could put out not terribly too many cards, or Planeswalkers won't have additional loyalty. That's why I didn't put it in this particular deck. There's an Oath of Nissa that's going to take the turn away. Needs to find a land too, so even if there's some pretty powerful cards, has to choose a land over any other card. Yep, and that can play tapped. I don't know if that's relevant. Glorybringer comes untapped here. We can actually swing with 2 initiates if I do draw a red source. Serve the Conduit. We'll just go ahead and draw a card again. No, I don't think that that's the right play. It's just still Servant over... Well, we can do both. So red. And then red. I probably shouldn't have done it that way, but we'll have mana after this now. So we'll have the initiate, or the, yeah, we'll have the initiates up to 3s. And we'll have plenty of mana with the Servant, so I'm okay with this. So add red, red. And then add whatever for Servant. Because this allows us for even deploy. And the Glorybringer is going to get in there for 4. And staring down pretty much lethal Next turn 4, and then 6 is 10. Yep, that's 12. So that one was a win. Unless there's some sort of planar outburst type card. Destroy all creatures and planeswalkers. Obnixilus can kill Glorybringer. Alright, so opponent's still in it. Most likely we are just going to redirect to Obnixilus here. And play the planes. And then play the Nissa. And then untap. It doesn't matter here. And swing in for 11. Guess we could have just won there. Didn't need to kill Obnixilus. Could have just won, but down to a 1. It is a Super Friend Mirror. I'm assuming it's someone on the stream, someone watching the stream, because we were queued up for quite a while actually before we got a person that entered the queue. And last game's decisions were pretty clutch on what they decided to negative Chandra rather than just go for the 3-1s. But anyway, I think I'm going to call it a night. Had fun with the Soul Sisters. The 4-1 was pretty good. Won some a match there. Opened up some good treasures. We'll try to do this again. I'm going to try to make this a thing on Thursday. Thursday Brewsday. I don't call it Tuesday Brewsday because Tuesday I have another scheduled thing, so it just doesn't work out to stream on Tuesday. But I want to start streaming. If people, again, prefer the Twitch aspect of things, I'm going to try to figure out how to do both. I don't know how it would work on, maybe we'd have to add a template over somewhere for another chat, or just have the chat somehow merge in a way. But we'll have to do some Twitch streams one of these days. Just as a YouTuber, it just seems to make more sense keeping it all on the same platform. But anywho, we'd like to branch out to other venues. I know I did Twitch. It's been probably over a year since I've done Twitch, but you can always send me messages of what decks you'd like to see for next week's stream. We might stream on Saturday or Friday, even tomorrow could be an option if I get some time. But anyway, enjoyed having everyone here, and thanks for watching.